Hello, and welcome to Keeper's Corner Podcast, where we're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. With your hosts, as always, Matthew Sterling, Michelle Brooks, and Brandon Brooks. Let's go. Hello, welcome to another edition of Keeper's Corners Podcast. As always, we are Matt, Brandon, and Michelle here to talk about Utica City. And once again, unfortunately, they are coming off of a tough road loss against Florida. This time 6-2, so not as bad as the other two losses.
I have a question. Question very important for the group. When do we rename us the Depression Corner Podcast?
The what?
When do we rename ourselves to the Depression Corner Podcast?
Okay.
Well, that could mean a lot of things, like an economic depression, and I really don't want to talk about economics. It's boring.
Economics is school.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Not personally.
Soccer is not school.
Depression could be like a big, like a pit in the ground, which is kind of where I want to crawl into after.
Listen, Mr. Technical.
I figured I would split hairs with you on this before we get into it.
Fine.
Yeah, it's a 6-2 loss. We did see Wilkin in goal this time. And it was close through the first three quarters, 3-2. And then things kind of fell apart there in the fourth quarter. But before we get too far into things, let's guys, give me your play that changed the game.
I just say the fourth quarter.
The fourth.
To be fair, mine's in the fourth quarter too, because mine was their fourth goal. That was the one that just kind of sealed the deal for me. Once I think it was Espinal got the fourth goal. Yeah, it was Espinal. Mm-hmm. Once they got the fourth goal, I felt it was pretty much sealed up. Like, that was what broke the 1-goal deficit for the whole game. We had been trailing by 1, and it was like, okay, this is plausible that we can at least tie it up, maybe go into overtime, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But once they hit that fourth one and we didn't answer even right away, I felt that was it for me. That sealed the deal.
Yep. Mine was that fourth too.
Not copying me.
Oh.
Well, mine. Yeah, I'm gonna not copy, but copy, because mine is the blue card that preceded that fourth goal. We had killed that power play, but Nate was still running back onto the turf. And the reason that power play ended up being key is, if you go back and watch, in those 2 minutes, Utica is only able to sub one guy off to stay fresh defensively. Meanwhile, Florida can just change out at will. But yeah, that 4-2 kind of was the dagger. And honestly, that blue card, even their play-by-play guys were like, ooh, that was a little bit of a acting job from... I forget who it was that got fouled.
Why do you think they're called the Florida Floppers?
Because I thought that was a great play on words, and I started calling them that.
Bill, you started calling them the Floppics.
They've been called a lot of things, okay? It's more frustration on our part than. But I mean, when your own announcers kind of call you out on it, that it was a bit embellished.
That's saying something.
You're doing something wrong. Or right in this case. Yeah, overall it was definitely, it felt like a much needed turnaround from the past few games that we've watched up until the fourth quarter. I mean, the fact that we were able to hold them, like I said, to a 1-goal lead for that long. I mean, they got a 2-goal deficit on us at one point in the third, but then we came back and got a second one. So, it was only a 1-goal deficit again. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the fourth, just like I said, that just was like, okay, that's the runaway point.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that'll lead us right in. I mean, we're all in agreement. That's the sequence of events that ended hope and put the game out of reach, unfortunately, even though really 2 goals shouldn't be out of reach. But
it shouldn't, but
I think we're all in agreement the team just kind of started to run out of gas.
Yeah.
After that, you saw a breakaway goal and just not.
Like we said, they did great the first 3 quarters.
I think that's where the frustration comes from, is because all we want at this point is to see a complete game, win or lose. Go out there, play the full game, and don't sleepwalk through a quarter or 2. And
yeah, because you can't sleep on any of these teams that we're going against.
Nope.
No. Well, that said,
Harrisburg was leading Baltimore the other night, and then Baltimore came alive.
Yeah. Baltimore kind of slept on Harrisburg, and then they realized, but they turned it back around. So.
Well, I guess that leads us into the next little bit that we're all very used to at this point, and your stat that tells the story.
88% block save percentage for Hugo Silva. Man's a machine, plain and simple. Couldn't get anything past him.
There were a lot less shots that were just shots for the sake of shots. They definitely tried to test him more, but the man had a fantastic game.
Yep. No question. Deserves the Defender of the Week for sure. That man, like I said, that man's a brick wall.
Well, mine is kind of 2. So, Michelle, I'll let you go before I accidentally steal it with my double one.
Hey, I'm proud of the fact that Wilkins saved 9 goals out of the 14 that were shot against him.
He wasn't even present for one.
Yeah, he wasn't even present for one.
Yeah. One of those goals, the first one really, is the only one that I will 100% put on Wilkin, because he goes to reach down and pick it up, and kind of in that.
He bumbled it.
Yeah. Then the ball went right back out to a Florida guy, and easy goal.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. For sure. All right, Matt. What you got?
All right. So mine kind of does tie in with Michelle's. Wilkins save rate, which we said was 643. Even though we were all in agreement last week that he should be starting over Coughlin until Coughlin's 100%. Do you guys know what Coughlin's save rate was last week?
No.
640.
I was going to say right about the same, if I remember correctly.
You want to know what the biggest difference was? On goals, the reason there were so many less goals?
Defense actually showed up?
The defense showed up. Last week, in the 10-goal burial, Utica had 0 blocked shots.
Yep.
This week, Raymond had 4, Obasi had 2, Somau had 2, and Thompson and Slav each had 1.
I was going to say, there was some good ones, too. Like
10 blocked shots.
I remember some of those blocks were like, if they weren't in the way, Wilkin was not getting that ball. So, I mean, there was some very exciting blocks, honestly, from our guys. Like they stepped it up. Again, I felt like they stepped it up overall for most of the game, just not all of it.
Yeah. They tried.
Defensively, much better effort. I feel a lot better about that this week than I did last week.
Yep.
Offensively, still kind of a work in progress, which is weird to say.
Defensively, we're strong.
I mean, good defense is good, but you still need people to be able to finish the shots. And
yeah.
I mean, you know, we keep seeing glimpses every week. We keep seeing glimpses of what the team can really do. We know this team it can do good things when they try, but you know, we're just seeing glimpses. We want to see a full game. Show us what you got.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Just put it together. Let's this Sunday really let's put it together. And we'll cover more on that later. But
And I'll be honest, even though even if Andrew was 100% this past weekend, I get the feeling that we were going to see Wilkin in goal anyway. Regardless, I think they were going to split the series just because they had 2 games, back-to-back weekends against Florida. We've seen the team do that before. If we've got 2 games against the same place, they split goalkeeping. It makes sense to give
a different look.
Yeah, give both of them experience against the team so they can, maybe later in the season be able to, do better against them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely understand splitting them so that they both get experience. So I think we're going to see Wilkin in goal either way.
No, I think it was the right call. Hopefully that means Andrew will be back at 100% this weekend. We'll need him, especially if he's shaking off that sluggishness from his bout with COVID.
Really not that bad.
Depends.
Yeah, we really don't know. What'd you guys think of that blue card that Timmy ended up having drawn when the play was dead and Ruggles walked up to him and I don't know what was said. They exchanged some words and then Ruggles just shoved him straight to the turf 3 feet from the referee.
Well, yeah, because then Timmy tried to get back up and shove him back from the ground.
Yeah.
I had never seen that from Tim.
Go Timmy!
I want to know what happened there.
I really do, because throughout the rest of the game, you could see Timmy was get a little chippy.
Good.
Just kind of pushing guys, and
I want to see Chippy Tim. Heck yeah, that sounds fun. Chippy Tim.
Chippy Tim.
I don't want to just see Chippy Tim. I want to see the entire team chippy. This team is built off of Hall's personality as a rugged, smash mouth, get in your face, physical, defensive soccer club. And really, they haven't been that this year.
No, they needed their attitude back.
Yeah,
especially Bo. No, we don't want Bo's attitude.
Yeah, that one's. I'm not sure we want that one. We don't need any more bad words.
I know we don't have Liam in the middle to just be the guy that's well, I'm going to be the enforcer, and that guy's been a little bit of a problem, so I'm going to put him into the boards and blue card be damned.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we need someone to step up and do that, but I would like to nominate Schindler since we all know his comment after the Harrisburg fight was, "Don't worry, guys, I had it. You didn't have to come to my defense."
Yeah.
Let that Mack truck hit somebody.
We need Sensei to do some wax on, wax off.
I still love that. Don't worry, guys, I had it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be dirty. Honestly, obviously, we don't want dirty, but just be physical. Make the other team uncomfortable out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sorry.
I think that's what we saw in the fourth quarter. They were tired. They stopped kind of bumping shoulders and pushing Florida off the ball, and Florida got comfortable and had their way.
That's the thing is we've definitely seen a lot of physicality from a lot of the teams we played, and it just seems like we're playing it safe. And I think part of that comes from the first game. I really think that first game against Florida really rattled us as far as trying not to draw cards, trying not to draw fouls, because we got slammed that first game.
Yeah.
And, I felt like all we were really doing is just being physical. And now all of a sudden, it's almost like it's almost like the guys don't want to do that, don't want to try and be physical for the simple fact that they're afraid they're going to get carded for it.
I don't think they're just worried about that. I think it's also because we're in the time of the COVID.
Maybe. Depending on who's had it, and we know they're all vaxxed, but
the time of the COVID, what is this? The Bushido era?
Sure.
Yeah, get a little chippy. I mean, I'm sure Hall gives it to them if they make dumb fouls, but
Oh yeah, I mean, anybody would. Anybody's gonna, give them the business if they're doing something stupid out there. But get angry, get mad, push somebody over.
Just barrel into them.
all right. So we'll take a quick break for an ad here, and then we'll come back and discuss what we think needs to change for Utica to help turn this thing around here. And we are back. So at this point, Utica's 2-4 on the season. They have a negative 15 goal differential, the worst in the league. Just
Woohoo!
We're good at something.
Get the party popper.
What does Utica need to do at this point to turn things around?
I have no idea.
Put ball in goal.
Yeah, put ball in goal.
Not our own goal, Obasi.
So yeah, you want to know how bad the goal scoring has been this year?
I don't want to.
No, I mean, I've already seen it, but explain it to me.
All right. So in 2019, 2020, we had 8 different players on the roster that had a 300 or better for their shooting average. So on at least 3 out of 10 shots, they scored a goal.
Yep.
This year, we have 2 players above 200. And one of them is Logan at 200, and he hasn't played the last 3 games.
The other one, Moy.
Let me go back.
Just taking a guess.
Get back. Don't want to sing more because I don't want to get sued. 2021, 2022 Utica. The other one is not Moy. It is Pat Thompson.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I'm pretty sure Moy was there, but then he went 1 for 9 this past Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bo's got a 100.
He's got a .1. Good. Good.
Oh God.
Sierra's got a .08. Don't blow it.
It took me a second to
Yeah,
realize.
There you go. Uh-huh.
It took me a second to realize what the heck
That's
you were talking
the problem. They're drunk driving on the turf.
about. They're drunk soccering.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened in the game after New Year's. Let's be honest here.
That was hangover. That was what? Wait, what did we play on?
Florida.
We played Florida. Yeah, that's too bad. It could have been the Harrisburg hangover. Darn. Missed opportunity.
Well, yeah, shots have been shot selection, I would say. Because if you're missing that many, you're forcing shots. You're forcing them bad.
Shot. I mean, okay, I'm done. That's what we need to take. That's what we need. We need more of those. I mean, I shouldn't say that because we've taken a lot of shots that have gone into the stratosphere. On target shots. Is really what we need to do. What I've consistently seen is while we're playing around in their end of the field, while we're trying to split the defense, we are incapable, or it's been very, very difficult for them to split a defense. No matter what we've done, they have the 5 back, they're collapsed back, and we just cannot seem to infiltrate that. We're always passing around the outside. There's been some occasions where we'll pass into it, but then that person just gets swarmed and we have to pass it right back out. And it just seems like we never are able to capitalize once they collapse back.
You said before, put ball in goal. Their goal.
So Here's an example of how bad our shot selection has been.
Oh, God.
Through 6 games, Moy has had 16 of his shot attempts blocked by defenders.
Yep.
In the 20 games that he played in 1920, he only had 29 shots blocked. He's on pace for, let me do my math right here, 64. No, I'm sorry, 24. No, yeah, 16 times, because we're only a quarter of the way through the season. He's on pace for 64 shots to be blocked. Slav also has double-digit shots blocked, 12. 2019-2020, across 20 games, he had 19 shots blocked. He's on pace for 48. I think part of that comes from playing behind, where they feel forced to shoot. But it's also just poor shot. So, like I said, they're forcing shots.
Well, another thing that I've noticed is that I feel like we're just so hesitant to move the ball up the field. We're how many times we've gotten caught? At least 2 or 3 times where we've double passed back to the keeper and gotten called for it. And
yeah.
I mean, the main reason for that is because I feel like we're always under so much pressure because we're not applying it, so they start applying it. There's never a time when I think the only time that we've been able to have that slow approach up the field is I think that only worked against Harrisburg. That's basically it. That's the only time, and that's not going to work forever. Like they're going to start applying pressure every time that they start applying pressure. We just collapse and we have to move the ball back, or we end up trying to pass back to the keeper too many times, and next thing you know, it's a top of the arc restart. We really just need to be moving it up the field and applying pressure. There's a lot of things.
Yeah, that goalie rule has definitely caused some issues.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot for us. Like none of the other teams that we've played against, at least while we've been playing them, have been called for it, if I remember correctly.
I think Baltimore got called once.
Yeah. That's still once in 6 games. We've gotten it happen to us probably, I would say, once every other game, maybe.
I was going to say 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. So it's definitely hurt us a lot. And
I hadn't planned on revisiting that goalie rule until mid-season, but it's been problematic.
Yeah, it's been a prominent issue already, and it's been very prominent for us specifically. And I think that's just because we're always so used to playing it off a Coughlin.
One of the other ways that it's changed the game is, I don't know if you've paid attention when they're on offense, but you'll notice that there's a 5th guy hanging out kind of back at the circle from midfield who's not really taking part in the attack. So instead of being 5-on-5 in the attacking third, it's 4-on-5 favoring the defense, because they want that body back there so that if they need to reset the play, there's someone there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they can no longer play it back past half to the keeper more than one time. And it's not just us. It's affected the entire league. Like goal totals, it's been a couple weeks since it's been updated, but they covered it on In the Backs last week. We're down almost 2 goals a game across the league at this point in the season. It looks like it's completely backfired.
Yeah, it kind of, it's made teams have to be much more calculated with their shots, because like it's basically 4-on-5. Every time, actually, I mean, technically, if you count the keeper, it's 4-on-6 every time you're down on the other end. So, I mean, that makes it, I can definitely understand how that obviously makes it more difficult for teams to score. But that being said, it has not necessarily stopped other teams from scoring on us.
No. No, it doesn't address our defensive issues, but it does point a finger towards the offensive side.
Yes. And we've seen some of our guys step up. I mean, we've seen. I mean, Pat Thompson. He's been kind of roaring back these past couple games. I feel like we've been seeing more of him. And I mean, he's quick. Oh, he's fun to watch. And I mean, Moy's been doing all right. Somebody that I feel has actually been kind of fading into the background is actually Segura. Like, how many times have we actually talked about him this season at all? Like, basically none at all. Because
he's got 4 points, which ties him for third on the team with Joey and Bo. But
I mean, he was one of our leading scorers last season. One of, I mean, between him, honestly, but between Moy, Segura, and Daggers, I believe that was our top, and Bo was some of our top scorers. And I mean, we barely have. Frankly, we've barely seen any action from any of those. But I mean, Moy is still leading us for goals. But I mean, he's still only got 5 for 6 games. I mean, that just seems it just seems so low for him. I mean, it's low for all of them. But again, that's just we've seen so many games where it's just the finish issues aren't there, and we don't follow up on stuff. That's been a reoccurring issue.
Michelle, anything you'd like to add?
Nope.
Nothing? Just gonna let me talk, let me yammer?
Basically said everything. Gotta bring getting around it.
You're not being picked up.
You have to bring finishing shoes. There's no getting around it.
That's certainly. Not you. Stats. You're in here somewhere.
Stat.
I'm trying to find the power play stats to see where Utica ranks, because defensively we have a 73% power kill, which is fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Offensively, we have a 33% success rate.
I feel like that's where we always are with that, though.
We were at 46% 2 years ago. Stars, players. Oh, special teams. Power play percentage. Milwaukee, as bad as they are, has a 67% power play percentage. Dallas is better than us. Kansas City's better than us. That's surprising. Florida has a worse power play percentage than us.
Okay.
286. Unsurprisingly, Harrisburg is 0 for 5. So we are tied for third worst in the league with St. Louis at 33%.
Woo!
The Ambuns.
The Ambuns. Yeah, I think if we can fix our power plays and get to 50%. Oh, that's really depressing. So St. Louis has had 24 power plays, more than anyone in the league. Utica has had 9, which at that rate, even with 2 more games, we would have half as many power plays as St. Louis.
I mean, that's not necessarily something we control, though.
Yeah.
No.
We can help attribute to it. We can help embellish it, but
yeah,
it's not gonna. We can't necessarily control that.
Start flopping, boys. The next thing you know, we get carded for embellishment.
And he's throwing himself over the boards.
Self-propelling.
He's self-propelling himself into the goal.
But yeah, that's unfortunate that this offense with so many weapons has been so lackluster. And more than anything, that's what needs to change.
I mean, unfortunately, it's not like we haven't already talked about it either. That's been a consistent subject or consistent topic for us. Just the lack of drive.
Kind of beating a dead horse at this point, honestly.
Yep.
Well, all right. With that, we'll turn our attention to this next week. Baltimore comes to the Odd Sunday at 2. And we're familiar enough with Baltimore. Like you guys said, they won their last game. They came back to win 8-5 against Harrisburg. They've missed quite a few games here because of their COVID issues. Haven't played in some time. I want to say I think their game against us was the last time they played before that.
I think so.
So they had like 3 weeks off.
But they played Dallas before they come to Utica, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played Dallas on Friday, right?
Yep, Friday night.
Which Dallas is suddenly alive or not alive.
What are they? Schrodinger's sidekicks?
Well, no, they were starting off really bad, and then they fired their coach after 3 games or something like that, and signed back a bunch of former players, and then they won 3 in a row.
Well, I mean, losing to Kansas City, you're losing to an undefeated team. You can't really.
Yeah. So we'll see which team shows up against Baltimore.
I'll be completely honest. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters which team they deal with on Friday. I don't think it's going to affect Baltimore for the weekend at all.
Yeah,
I don't think it makes any difference.
Not unless there's some kind of injury that comes out of it. But obviously, we don't want anyone to get injured.
No, of course not.
I'll say go Dallas.
Well, I mean, we can root for the other team, but not.
Yeah, we certainly want
injuries.
We want Baltimore to come away with 0 points.
Yeah.
Hashtag beat the blast.
But at this point, they are led by Lucas Roque with 11 points. His 8 goals on the season. Our friend Nelson Santana.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's Santana.
I'm reading his name and Donatelli's at the same time because they're next to each other on the list.
Nelson Santella.
Nelson Santana.
If you combine his first name and last name, you could have Nutella. If you pronounce it that way.
I like Nutella. I don't like Nelly.
Has 3 goals on the season at 500 shot percentage.
Wow. Bottled down the field fast enough. Good for him.
Wow.
Surprisingly enough, their forward Jamie Thomas leads the team with blocked shots at 10. That's probably because Dos Santos missed a game and is at 7. Juan Pereira's under suspension, apparently. Let's go see what that's about. He got red 2 for obscene and offensive gesture. That'll be served Friday against Dallas, so he'll be back.
Obscene and offensive gesture.
What do you do? Flip somebody off?
I don't know. I didn't watch that Harrisburg game because I was working. And
I mean, I would say we watched part of it, but we didn't
part of
we
it,
didn't
but
watch
I didn't
the whole
see
thing.
that. Guess I'll have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
yeah. That won't matter then since he's out on Friday.
No, that's not gonna affect our game at all.
He'll be back.
I mean, we're very familiar with this team. These two teams don't like each other.
Not at all.
We've seen heartbreak go both ways. Let's play this voicemail that we got, and then we will discuss the question raised.
Hello, Keepers Corners podcast. Your old pal the Fanatic here. So, my question to you is, given the state of the team right now, is Sunday's game pretty much a must-win for the playoffs? I know it's early, but look at the schedule. So I ask again, is Sunday's game a must-win?
All right, Brandon Michelle, there's your question. Is Sunday's game against Baltimore a must-win game for the playoffs?
Yes.
I mean, I'll be honest. Maybe not from a playoff perspective, but I'm kind of being a little bit of a pessimist here. I kind of feel like this past weekend was the must-win, but not for playoffs, for morale at this point, honestly. This weekend, I would say, is, could potentially be a must-win, given, like they said, playoff perspective. I mean, the next, basically, we've got this, and we've got one more home game against Ontario on the 23rd, and then we are away practically all of February. San Diego, Ontario, Baltimore, St. Louis. That is a hefty schedule. That's a tough schedule. And, I see, honestly, depending on how we look this weekend, we could come out 50-50 from that. Or we could come out with potentially a lot of L's. For a playoff perspective, I think this could very well be make or break. But it's also going to be make or break from a team morale as well as a fan morale. Like, we've seen just so many games where we've been watching fans just walk out just downtrodden, just like, why am I here? Why am I watching this? Why am I supporting this team? I mean, even, we've even had some of the diehards that have just been like, what the heck is going on? I mean, frankly, I'm going to be there at every game no matter what when we're home, and I've been watching every single one when we're away, and that's not going to change regardless of our record. But it's really, I think potentially, if we don't perform this weekend, I think we're going to have I think it's going to be a major downturn in turnout come end of February, beginning of March. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so here's why I say it's not just must win, but it's must win for the playoffs. Top 8 teams, as we discussed earlier in the season, make the playoffs this year. At this point, Utica sits in 9th with 6 points. The teams behind us are Milwaukee with 1 point. They've played one less game. Harrisburg with 0 points. They've played 3 less games. Chihuahua also has 0 points. They've played in 4 less games. So, and then the team that we're tied with in points is the Tacoma Stars. They've also have 6 points, but they've also played 2 less games. So out of all those teams that could, at the moment, you would say are potentially vying to sneak into the playoffs with the 8 seed, Utica has the least amount of room for mistakes. And as we've said, looking at the schedule, it gets brutal. We get Baltimore at home this Sunday, on the road at Milwaukee next Friday, Ontario at home that Sunday. Then we go on the road to Baltimore or to San Diego and Ontario, and
Baltimore and then St. Louis.
And we
then
get
they're back home.
one
Against-
home game in February, which is the makeup with Baltimore because of the
There's two home games in February.
two.
No, I'm sorry. There's one. I stand corrected. I was looking. I flipped it in my mind.
Yeah,
I was
so
like, and after that, they go to Harrisburg on Saturday.
And then Baltimore the day after.
yeah. That's just a brutal stretch. And that game on the 23rd, I think, hurts because we're going to have a bye week. I mean, we still get the weekend off of the 19th. But then you're playing 3 games in 5 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I was gonna round and say three games in 7 days, but yeah, it's it's close. It's basically 5 days. It's a heck of a stretch.
And then, I mean, you finish up with games against our last 4 games go Baltimore, Florida, and then potentially vying for that 8 spot in the playoffs with us. Who knows at that point are Tacoma and Chihuahua.
Yep.
It's a brutal back half. And we can't just lean on the 4 other games we have against Harrisburg and be like, yeah, that'll be enough to get us to the playoffs.
No, and that's not a good mental strategy either. Like, oh, we'll beat up on the little guy. that's not a viable strategy, and I very seriously doubt that that's even necessarily crossing Coach Hall's mind. Is thinking about those 4 games as cannon fodder.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't think about any game like that.
No.
You're probably looking at it as he wants to beat up on the little guy, the big guy, and everybody in between.
I mean, with how he is, with how with interactions we've had with him, I mean, obviously you want to win every game.
Yep.
You want to win every game, but
It's not going to happen, but
it's not going to happen. He's more realistic than that. But I mean, we haven't talked to him in a while, but
You haven't seen him in a while.
yeah. I'm sure that he's trying to get to the bottom of what the heck's going on. And I mean, like we all want to know is what's going on with the team. I mean, we got a little bit of a glimpse into that when we talked to him the last time.
yeah.
Just kind of understanding kind of why we're at where we're at. But yeah, it's been a rough year. I mean, they're going to happen, but a lot of us are just questioning why.
Now, yeah, I mean, it's a point system. So as far as must win, I will say it must be an overtime win. You can't drop 3 points to Baltimore. You can't drop 2 points to Baltimore. You have to get at least 2 of the 3 points. Yeah, they'll still be ahead of you with 9 if you win in overtime, but
that's not the point.
You got to get something out of it.
Yep.
And it builds, hopefully, some confidence and momentum before you go into Milwaukee, who, let's see, they play Chihuahua Friday and Dallas Sunday. So maybe they will have their first win of the season at that point. Maybe they won't. But
if they don't, they're going to smell blood in the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. They're going to be coming. They're going to be coming for us.
So you need to walk in there with a little pep in your step and a little bit of oomph. Some bravado.
Your chest puffed out.
Some pep in your step, a chip on your shoulder, whatever gets you motivated.
But if you can, even 2 overtime wins in these next 2 games, if you get 4 points out of them, you're starting to right the ship. And I think that sets you back on the path before you go into that brutal stretch against the West.
Which even then, that's stretching. You said it. You described it exactly, and it's just brutal.
I guess that brings us to what's become a least favorite part of the podcast.
Oh,
Hey, you don't get to walk away, Brandon.
I get the good cheer then.
Woo! You just won't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, Michelle. Folks, your predictions for this weekend.
I'm saying 7-5 us.
I like the confidence. No hesitation. Brandon, are you breaking out booze? Yep.
Yes, he is.
Take
All
a
right,
stiff drink.
Sticking with your team of essentially, we need an overtime win. I'm going with an overtime win. We'll go with a win. I'm still staying optimistic. I've been pretty much optimistic every game with not much ground to stand on. But I say 5-4. Utica takes it in overtime.
All right. Well, that leaves me. And we saw a better team this past Sunday. I hope that's something that the guys in Hall can build off of. I hope that week that they stayed in Florida and got to enjoy some nice weather and do some outdoor training helped a bit, and they can come back and finish whatever it was this week to get them back to 100%, because this last week it was like 75% since the fourth quarter fell apart.
What you got?
I hate to say it, but I got an overtime loss. I think we might have enough to go the length. I think it goes 6-5 Baltimore in overtime. And unfortunately, I think it comes off of a quick restart, or not a quick restart, a quick fast break goal.
Yep.
Because that's the one thing we have not seen enough from Utica, is being able to get back quickly on defense.
That was going to be my original prediction. I was going to say a 6-5 loss in overtime, but
you drank some liquid courage and
just trying that optimism,
That liquid optimism.
Liquid optimism.
Well, that said, I'll still, we'll still be there Sunday. I'll have the flag. We'll be loud. As long as there's stuff to be loud about. Even if that stuff is just, oh my God, what is that referee doing?
You got to rally for the team.
We do. The
team gets into it when the fans are into it, man.
But we get into it when the team's into it.
We just got to stay into it.
Bring back $3 UC. Do that.
Oh,
I'll be into the game.
If the crowd's... Okay, I see what you're going for. Well, hopefully the beer garden giveaway goes well. I think we all remember the Vuvuzela from the home opener.
Not.
And how just kind of obnoxious that got after a while. Do you guys know what the giveaway is this weekend for Kids Day?
Close again.
They're getting cowbells.
Yes. I'm down for that.
Do you have a fever and the only cure is more cowbell?
Order you a new cowbell?
I need to get a new cowbell.
Order you a new one.
Because if you have a fever, you might want to get COVID tested.
Oh
Cowbell.
my God.
Cowbell won't cure that.
Hey, not true. When I had COVID, I didn't have a fever.
Yeah, did you have a cowbell?
Yes. Yes, I did.
That's going to be it for this week. As always, we'll be back next week. I'm working on something through Twitter DMs. We might have a bit of a special episode.
I saw that.
With more cowbell?
I don't know if the person in question has cowbell, but I can look around. I know I had 2 cowbells here.
I had one, and then the ball fell off.
I'll buy you a new one.
Well, don't be so aggressive with your ball.
I was gonna say I had too much cowbell. All right.
Stop being so aggressive with your ball.
Take it easy when you're beating your bells.
Oh God.
I said bells. That's with an E.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So hopefully we'll have a little something special for that one.
Cool.
All I can say is I'm going full Braveheart, so I better not be alone.
Come over to the house, Matt. I'll Braveheart your face.
It can take our law and our lives or whatever. I've never seen the movie.
Oh my God, they can take our lawn? Is that what you just said?
They can take our goals, but they'll never take our cowbell. Somebody had to say it.
Did they, though?
No.
Yes, I did have to say
No.
it. Anyway.
All right, that'll be a wrap on this. On this episode. Let's hope on our next one we get to have a little bit of fun and talk about what a great day Sunday was. It's Kids Day, so there's going to be like bounce houses and other stuff there
On the field, right? While they're playing.
that
Next to
would make
obstacles?
for things very interesting.
Someone goes to boot a ball, boots a kid.
Boots it through the bounce house, just deflates.
The Utica Zoomobile will be there, a bounce house. There will be a team photo giveaway, post-game player autographs, and the beer garden giveaways, that cowbell. But
I gotta bring my signed jersey. I gotta catch up on signatures.
yeah, we got to get a bunch of guys on that flag still, like Ronnie and Isak and Patty Thompson.
I gotta get Slav.
Yeah, got to get Slav, Joey.
I think I got Joey. I don't know.
Just don't deflate the bounce house until everyone's.
I want to see Timmy in the
Immediately
bounce
after the game.
house.
Yeah, I want to see Timmy in the bounce house.
Yeah, because if it's a win, I want to jump for joy, and if it's a loss, it'll give me a nice soft place to go. Just
Right.
slip into depression. I'll be up there in fetal position, and you guys can be bouncing around me.
As you just bounce up and down while crying.
All right.
All right. As always, thanks for listening. I'm Matt.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Michelle.
We'll see y'all next week.
Cowbell.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to us so you never miss an episode. If that podcast app also has reviews, be sure to leave us 5 stars to let us know how we're doing and reach a larger audience. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Keeper Corners Pod. And you can always find us there talking UCFC soccer. Thanks again for the support. It's truly appreciated. One last thing. Go Utica.